Hi everybody, this is Fred with Personal Time Outdoors. Welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be the debrief video for my trip down to Mohican that I posted a couple of weeks ago. Now I make these debrief videos simply to try to help beginners or maybe people who have visited an area for the first time, just to give them a few tips and some information on the area in case they want to take that trip themselves. Now I don't get a ton of views on these videos, but that's okay with me. If it helps a couple of people out, then in my mind it's worth the effort to go ahead and put it together for everybody. Now at Mohican State Park in Ohio, they have what they call their Park and Pack campsites. And what these sites are, is they are free to use primitive camping sites that you can go and do a short little backpacking trip to. Currently, they have 7 sites available. Now, there used to be 10, as I mentioned in the video, but there was a tornado that went through that area back in 2022 that kind of caused a lot of devastation in the area. And they had all of the sites actually closed for almost 2 years. And when they reopened them, they only reopened 7 of them. And so sites 8, 9, and 10 currently are still not open. I'm not sure if they have plans in the future to reopen them or not, but as of filming this video, they are still not open. Now, all of these sites do need to be hiked to. There isn't any way that you can really use them for car camping. From where you park to where the sites are, depending on the route you take, it's probably going to be at least a mile hike to each site. Now, there are ways to make those hikes longer if you like, because there's a whole trail system of bridle trails. They're actually shared use trails. They're hiking trails and bridle trails. So you can kind of plan your own route out if you want to make a little bit of a longer hike. But do plan on at least hiking at least a mile to get to your campsite. Now, these are strictly primitive campsites. There's no running water there. There's no latrines. The only amenity that you will have is a fire ring. Now, in order to access these sites, they do require self-registration at a kiosk that's near the Forest Service building. And when I take you to the map here in just a few minutes, I will show you where all of that is located so you know where to go and sign up for a site. And when you get to this kiosk, the first thing you're going to see is a clipboard up on the side of it. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put down your name, put down what campsite you would like and what days you're going to be there. So when you look at this clipboard, you can kind of look and see what other people have done to make a determination on whether or not a site is open or not. You're also going to have a 2-part form that you have to fill out, and half of that form goes into a mailbox that's right there at the kiosk, and then the other half of that form is supposed to go on the dashboard of your vehicle so that if a park ranger sees it overnight, they know that you're somebody who's using one of the Park and Pack sites. Now, they do have a number of other rules that are associated with using these sites. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put them up on the screen here briefly. And if you would like to read those over, just go ahead and pause the video. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take you to the map, and I'll show you where the sites are located in the park and how the trails are laid out, so you'll get some idea of what the area is like. So this is the current map that the Ohio Department of Natural Resources has published for Mohican State Park. And on this current version of the map, for some reason, they went away from coloring the trails to correspond with their actual name. For example, on the older maps, the red trail was colored red and the blue trail was colored blue, etc., etc. Instead, they started using this legend over here that has letters that point to each trail so you can kind of see what each trail is, but to me that's really hard to follow. So for the purposes of this video, what I did is I went ahead and I actually colored over the trails so that it's a little easier to follow along with. So this is my modified version of the map, and what I've done here is, like I said, I colored each of the trails so you can see what they look like. And then I also put numbers next to the campsite so you could see which campsite was which. So for example, this box here, this yellow box with the red number in it corresponds to campsite number 1, campsite number 2, 3, 4, etc. One thing I want to point out before I forget here is campsite number 6. For some reason, not only on this map but on previous versions of the map, they've got the campsite drawn in the wrong place, and I don't know why they've not fixed that. But in reality, campsite number 6 is on the other side of this trail over here. So that's why I've drawn this little red arrow here. So if you are looking for campsite number 6, don't get confused by the map. Just hike past, where this trail kind of goes down to the south here, and you'll find it right over here. Okay, so moving on now, I want to point out a few things here. The kiosk that I mentioned where you have to go and do your registration is up here at the forestry office. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the address up here on the screen, and if you put this address in your GPS, it'll take you right there. I used Google Maps on my drive down, and using this address I was able to drive right up to the kiosk. So once you get there, you fill out your paperwork, and then you go look for a place to go park your car. Now there are several parking areas around the park that you can park your car in overnight if you're using one of the Park and Pack sites. The one that I use is actually right here where the Bridle Trail parking area is. When you first pull in there, you're going to see a sign. It's up against some trees, and it's going to say Park and Pack Parking. So that's where you can leave your car. And in each of the parking areas, they do have a sign that designates them as such. So make sure that you look out for that so that you don't run into any problems with the rangers. There's another parking area down here. And this one's really handy if you want to get closer to campsites 2 and 3. And then it's not on this map for some reason, but on the older versions of the map, there's another parking area right over here, which is good to use if you want to be really close to sites 5 and 6. So I don't know if for some reason they've done away with that parking area. I didn't drive over that way my last time down here. But you might want to drive over there and check it out and see if it's still there. I bet it probably still is. And I'm not sure why they didn't include it on this map. But just keep that in mind if you are going to use campsite 5 and 6. If you don't want to go on a long hike, that is an option for you. Or hopefully it still is an option for you. All right, so what I did is I camped here at campsite number 4. And what I wanted to do is I didn't want to just make this a short hike in. I could have just, come down here and taken the red trail this way and pretty much gone right to my site. This is probably maybe a mile or a mile and a half, something like that. I'm just guessing there. So what I did instead is I actually hiked around this way. And you can see here I've got both blue and red lines on this trail here. That's because the blue trail and the red trail share the same path in this section. So what I did is I hiked down this way. I crossed the stream here, continued down around, and worked my way around the red trail. And this was the second stream crossing over here, and then found my way up to campsite number 4 this way. And then the nice thing about that is the next morning when I left, it was a nice short hike back out to the car. As you can see, you've got a lot of different options here with the trail system to kind of design your own hike. Now the red trail, I think the legend here says it's like 4.1 miles, something like that, and that sounds about right. But if you look here at the blue trail is 12.9 miles. So if you really want to do some hiking, you can work your way around any way you like and then end up at your campsite. So for those of you who like to participate in a longer hike, you do have that option down here at Mohican. Now Mohican's the perfect place to go for a beginner backpacker. The trails are very easy to navigate and very easy to walk on, and the sites are actually really nice too. You've also got options to adjust the length of your hike. If you're a beginner and you don't want to hike very far, you can make a really short hike into your campsite. Or if you want to extend it out, you can design your own loop and kind of make a little bit of a longer hike out of the trip. I did trace out the trails on GPS Waypoints Navigator, and if you would like the GPX files to put on your own GPS device, just send me an email. My email is in the channel description, and I'll be happy to send those to you so you can use your phone or some other GPS device when you're out there hiking the trails if that makes you feel more comfortable. Now there's only a couple of downsides to backpacking down at Mohican. The first being that you've only got those 7 sites, and with not being able to reserve them ahead of time, you do run the risk of getting there and finding that there are no sites available. I recommend going during the week. That's probably going to give you your best odds of getting an open campsite. I'm sure during the weekend that place is probably pretty packed. The other downside, as I mentioned, is that the trails in the area are also bridle trails, so it is questionable on whether or not you should filter water from the streams in the area. I've seen mixed information on that. I know other people do it and they don't seem to have a problem, but I chose not to. The downside to that is that I did have to carry a lot of extra heavy water, and probably could have used another leader. That would have helped me extend the trip a little bit longer. I'll let you guys make up your own mind on whether or not you would want to filter water there. Now, as far as cell service goes, it was spotty in the park. When I was at my campsite, I actually did have full cell service, so that was nice. But there were areas as I was hiking on the trails that I did not have cell service. It kind of went in and out. So since I was hiking alone, I did take my Zoleo satellite communicator. But if I was with a group, I probably wouldn't take a satellite communicator. I don't think it would be necessary. Because like I said, you do get cell service in some areas, and also the trails are very heavily used, so if there was an emergency, the chances that you would run into another person or have somebody nearby that you could get help from are actually pretty good. Overall, I would definitely recommend Mohican, especially like I said, for a beginner or for somebody who wants to just kind of get away for a weekend or maybe test out some gear. It's a really nice park, and the campsites, like I said, are really nice. So yeah, definitely someplace I would strongly recommend. If you have any questions about this video or about my trip down to Mohican, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. And I really appreciate you watching the video today, and if this helped you out or if you think it could help you out, please give it a thumbs up, and I would also ask if you would please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.